superintendent. But we have with us today one of our own, Damon Alvey, who is going to share with us what's going on with our school district. Superintendent.
All right, well, thanks everybody. I appreciate the invite and always enjoy the opportunity to share some of the things that are happening in our district. I've got a few things that I'll be referring to on my notes here and some of the things that will be up on the screen for you. I'll probably go through the things on the screen rather quickly and then talk a little bit about partnerships and some of the activities that are going on in our district because you've seen most of this before and some of it's updated to reflect this year's numbers, but most of the things in our district have remained very constant and similar over the last 3 years that I've been doing this talk with you. So I guess the very first thing I would just like to talk about is the administration at our buildings, along with our teachers and all of our support staff, along with our school board, come to work tirelessly every day to provide the best opportunities for the students in Vermillion. When I first came on board, one of our discussions was how do we make Vermillion the best school district in the state? What steps can we take? And we talked about curriculum, and we talked about opportunities for kids, and we talked about partnerships. But ultimately, all of those things come down to relationships and getting the right people in the right places. So we are continually trying to do that, just like you are in your organizations, to put people in the best places to succeed, which of course will trickle down to kids having a great experience in Vermillion schools. So that being said, our administrative team is made up of Kim Johnson at Austin Elementary. She's been the veteran in our district. She's worked 25 years in the district as a teacher and an administrator. Sam Jacobs is our grade 2 through 5 principal over at Jolly. Sam's in his second year here. Tom O'Boyle is our middle school principal. He's in his second year as well. And John Fry is our new high school principal who has been with the district. This is his first year. So we have had some changes in the last 3 years in terms of leadership and expectations and the drives in each of the buildings, and we continue to try to sharpen those to get the opportunities that the school board desires for our community. So that's the very first thing. Recent action that you probably have been paying attention to in the newspapers, of course, our board has moved forward with the opt-out continuation in our school district. At this point, we've had the last 3 opt-outs have not been referred, and it continued to be ongoing. And this last January, our school board moved forward with a continuation of the $880,000 opt-out that you have been accustomed to the last 5 years. So we appreciate the support that we gained through that process and look forward to taking those dollars and putting them towards great opportunities for students in our district. The second thing you probably noticed is in December, you saw more motion and more activity with the administration and alt-school edition that will be taking place at the high school. That will be moving forward or is in drawing phase at this point, where we have 16 vendors who have all bid for the LOSOT on the operations of that construction phase. That will take place approximately May 26th. We'll start really seeing some changes at the high school, and we hope to be complete by December 30th of 2020. And we're waiting to start some of those phases because some of the utility work in the front of the school, we don't want to disrupt our internet and, of course, any of the utilities coming into the high school anytime this spring because it could cause problems with our testing and, of course, any of the things that are happening in our building. So you'll see most of the things going on in front of the stage, in front of the scenes happening in May and thereafter. And finally, the last thing that just some recent news is, of course, the all-school reunion committee has been formed. We have an all-school reunion plan for July 16, 17, 18, and 19. Am I right, Sue? Those are the dates that Sue and Jim are just a couple of the committee members, but there's others in the community that are helping promote that. But we're trying to reestablish ties with alumni, get everybody back for an all-school reunion, and celebrate the alumni that have gone through our school district and then promote things that are happening now. So you'll hear a little bit more about those things as we move forward into the upcoming months. I guess I just would like to outline a few of the pictures that you're noticing on screen. The very first one is that's a picture of our staff. There, you can't see any of us, of course. It's a pretty small picture, but we took that with a drone that we use at the school. It's part of one of the classes that Mr. Brunick teaches at the high school, and we have 3 drones, and we used it to take a picture, and our theme for the year was Believe, and we hope that when we establish the theme of Believe, that it transcends down to the kids. So our staff believes in them and their contributions to our school. Our staff believes in the partnerships and the community support that we receive, and they believe that what they do in the classroom each day makes a difference with the kids coming in. Now, we hope that the kids see these pictures on the wall and they see it and feel it in our staff so that they believe in what's happening in our mission of our school district, and therefore they believe in themselves and they believe in each other. And we just put a real emphasis on that relationship side of the education equation this year. And that was just how we started our year. Before school started, we all came to school and had an opportunity to take a neat picture of our staff. Alongside there, of course, the thank you for the community support. I'll get into that a little bit later on. Student life and extracurricular section there talks a little bit. I'm going to talk more detail about some of those opportunities, but if you're looking at that list, it's hard to see, I understand, but it's a vast list for an A-size school the size of Vermillion. The things that you're seeing on those lists are often not found in other A-size communities and mostly found in double A-size communities, so we're pretty proud of that. I'm going to jump back to the top there and talk a little bit about our district snapshot. Obviously, the one that we're always trying to keep a pulse on is the enrollment. Our K-12 enrollment this year is at 1261. Officially, we're only up 2 from last year, but you have to understand we had an influx or a loss of 40 kids during last school year. When I put it on these numbers last September to the state of South Dakota, we were at 1259. By Christmas, we were down 25. By May, we were down another 15 or 16. And then during the summer, we regained all of those kids back +2. So that's the kind of transition and numbers that we see fluctuate in our buildings on a daily basis. We just had 2 students come to the high school yesterday while I was there for a meeting. And so that's not uncommon. We have a lot of enrollment shifts. But at the end of the day, if we're continuing to grow, which we have the last 3 years, that's positive for state aid. It's positive for opportunities for kids. It gives us a chance to have a healthy curriculum, hire good staff. Our rate reduced district-wide is about 31 to 33%. Elementaries are slightly higher as they get to the high school. Those numbers change a little bit. Bus transportation, we have 6 routes that flow through our community and out to the country, transporting upwards of 300 students on a given day. We try to keep our staff ratios small. There you can see a 1 to 12 is goal. Primary grades, we're trying to stay at about 17 in class. And as they get older, of course, some of those classes get 21 to 26 to 28 kids in a class, depending on what the offering is and where it's at. And we continue to have 2 elementary attendance centers, a middle school, high school, and a central administration building downtown, which we talked a little bit about earlier. The next information there talks about our staffing. We continue to have about 104 certified staff and another 45 or so support staff with paras that work in our building, working with different needs of kids. I'll skip down to some of the bottom information here. Some of the additions to the Vermillion School District there that you'll see. Some of the things that were added this year that have become a priority for our school board was to meet some of the needs of students coming into our district, we offered a social worker, a district social worker position this year. We have a full-time counselor in each of our buildings, but some of the needs that are coming through our doors are more than our administrators, teachers, or counselors can handle at one given point. And we're finding that the relationship home is a missing link that we wanted to address. Providing parents and caregivers with resources in their homes that will best serve the kids. Maybe it's an attendance issue. The student can't get to and from school. Maybe it's resources. Maybe they're new to the community, don't know where to go, or basic services, or maybe some entitlements that they would like to seek out. Our district social worker works in conjunction with our admin team and our school nurse to provide those services. We do home visits where we go to homes and try to give resources there. It's been a very, very positive addition to our school district, and we look forward to seeing that continue to grow. The second one that we've added this year is the addition of a curriculum technical integrationist. And what that person does is they try to link the gap between our curriculum and all the technology we have. One initiative that we've achieved over the last 3 years is a one-to-one computer initiative for all students 6 through 12 in our schools have a personal device, they have a computer. And what our staff was saying is we have all this great curriculum and we have all this great technology, but I don't have the time to put all of those pieces together. I need somebody that can help sort that out for me and give me the shortcuts. So we were able to hire an expert that has technology skills and also has curriculum background, and that person works with all of our teachers to create that bridge for using technology effectively in the schools. We all know the technology is here. It's only going to get bigger and better. And today's youth, quite honestly, is used to having it. And so to teach out of a textbook, lecturing for an hour, isn't happening anymore in the district. Well, very seldom anyway. Today's youth demand a different platform and a different way of being educated, and this position helps to integrate all of those things together. And so that was another one that our teaching staff has really enjoyed, that because they are getting the chance to really get into their curriculum and use technology to best serve students. And the young lady that we hired to do that has done an outstanding job. I guess I'll continue on with The class of 2019 here, just a couple things there. We had 26 Regent Scholars. We had 9 Opportunity Scholars, 37 honor students. We had, I think, 89 graduating seniors last year. So you can see over a third of our kids had some great honors there. And then we have a large number of them. Those kids are still got a B average or above. What I always like to say about these kids, what's just really amazing to me is some of those kids that are listed as a Regent Scholar or an Opportunity Scholar were also the one you saw on every school play, maybe a captain on one of our sports teams, was on oral interp, works full-time at Cafe Brulee or half-time at Cafe Brulee, and still volunteers in the community. I mean, we have got some rock star kids that come through here and achieve at a high level, and we're really proud of that. It's really kudos to their family, but also kudos to our school district for providing good opportunities for them. I'll skip down now to the second page on my platform here, but on yours. Some things that I just wanted to share a little bit about our continuation of last year. Last year, our senior class was offered over $1 million in scholarships to 10 colleges. Now, obviously, some of those kids were duals. They got a full ride to USD for $70,000, and they also got a full ride to Mount Marty for $100,000. They only took one of those scholarships, of course. But the point being is, of those 89 students, to be generating over $1 million in offers is quite outstanding, and again, something that really kind of says a lot about our curriculum and about what some of these kids are capable of doing, which we're really, really excited about. I'll skip down to the bottom here, talk a little bit about our budget revenues and some of our expenditures. Often people wonder about, how do you get your money and what do you do with it? We get our money, obviously, through property taxes. We get money from the state, federal government in the form of grants and flow-through dollars that come to all schools in the state. But out of our budget there, about 67%, I'm looking at the second slide, I apologize, you guys can't see that very well. About 67% of our total budget, this is all of our funds pushed together, is just our salaries and benefits. It's when you have 200 people in your business, all of those benefits and salaries add up. But we continue to try to find ways to continue to hire and train and keep people for the long term, which of course add expenses because veteran teachers make more than new teachers. But we know that the benefits far outweigh hiring new staff every year at a lower rate just to watch them leave versus keeping a staff person, training them, getting them successful in the way we want them, and then having them have their opportunity to teach long term. We much prefer that because we're training and seeing young staff members go. We're starting over every year. So we try to hire the best, pay them a good wage, and make sure that we're training them and keeping them in our district as long as we can. Other portions of our budget that people wonder about sometimes is our purchase services. Those are things like our bus company or our lunch program. We hire professionals that sometimes help us with our HVAC systems or other complex components in our buildings. Anytime we're paying somebody else's services, it comes out of that portion of the budget. Of course, our supply budget is around 13%. When you've got 5 locations, there's a lot of supplies. There's salt and toilet paper and whiteboard markers and computers and papers and pencils and all of those things happening in every location. So that's some of the things that go into our supply budget, of course. And then we've got equipment, which could be anything from our skid loader to move snow to computers or other things that are needed within the district. And then, of course, a small portion of our budget, 7%, is paying for ongoing debt. In the past, when we've had to bond something out to upgrade the heating and cooling system at the high school, you bond those things out, borrow that money, then it gets paid off over a period of years. So that's one of the things that's involved with that. If we were looking just at the general fund portion of our budget, general fund is where we pay all of our bills out of. About 83 to 84% of that budget is just tied up in salaries. And then when you take supplies out of there as well at another 7 or 8%, you're in the low 90s to the mid 90s of that budget tied up in 2 items. So it gives us very little bit of flexibility when we're looking at increases or additional staff or other initiative that we want to try to make our school better. So that's why we're so dependent on state aid from the state of South Dakota and why our enrollment numbers are important. If our enrollment numbers drop, that number is negatively impacting our budget. And if our numbers continue to rise, it makes sense that we're going to receive more state aid dollars. So that's why we always advocate for education at the lobbying level at peers. We need those folks up here to push through as much state aid as they can to the public education so we can provide these great opportunities. The bottom slide over there talks a little bit about property valuations. People talk about, how do I notice my valuations or tax levies? How are those things related? Well, the bottom slide on the bottom left there shows that your property value is probably increased. You probably noticed that on your valuations or on your tax statement that you get in the mail. What's related to that is this slide here with the levies. What it actually shows is that over time the levies have been decreased by the counties and state governments. They've gone down But you don't see that in your tax bill, mainly because your valuation of your house has gone up. So when one's gone up and the other one's gone down, they've probably maintained a similar tax structure for your taxes on your home. So I like to point that out because sometimes people think that schools are responsible for that, which we're not. So I always try to get that out there. A couple more things, and then I'll go on to the next topic. I guess school district information, this section right here, what that talks about there is it just talks about the number of staff we have in different places. We were counting our lunchtime solution staff and our busing staff. Those aren't necessarily our employees, but we count them as a picture of the district, the types of people that we're having working with kids on a given day. And so when you look at us in the big picture, we have over 200 people that work really within the district to provide the services that you're seeing for kids, whether it's transportation, lunch, or the education component. What I did want to mention about that, though, is just recently, yesterday, in fact, Jen Ashley, who's a middle school math teacher at Vermillion Middle School, received the South Dakota Middle School Math Teacher of the Year Award, which is outstanding, great for her. But again, a testament. Since my time here in 3 years, we've had 5 staff members recognized. We've had 2 PE, or 1 PE, 1 Special Olympics, our SRO, Principal of the Year, and now a Math Teacher of the Year. That's pretty outstanding to have, in 3 years, 5 of your staff recognized as some of the best in the state. And we're really proud of that, and I think that shows a little bit about the people we try to hire and retain in our district. So, thanks for those of you who know those people, make sure you say hi to them and thank them for their efforts. I'm going to skip now to the next thing. Sorry here. Tom can move it. There we are. Extracurricular. There we go. All right. I wanted to spend just a few minutes talking about some of the extracurricular opportunities. I talked earlier about the things we offer our kids. This is just an example of the activities that are going on a given day at our middle school and our high school. As you can see there, we've got anything that from the traditional football, basketball, track, yearbook, all those types of activities to more specialized things like cheerleading or soccer or tennis, golf, other clubs and activities that make the experience at our school better are all the fine arts activities. We've got a robust fine arts program, whether it's band and vocal, but theater, the debate, the oral and terp. We've got science clubs and math clubs, natural helpers, and National Honor Society, student government. Those are things that people get paid to help promote in our district. We have advisors. Some of those people are our teachers. Some of them are community members that come in and help. What I wanted to share about that is all the things that I've talked about earlier, all the good things are a result of being able to provide opportunities for kids. And we've got kids that the only thing they might be in is art club maybe. Maybe they love art, but they don't go out for some of our other activities. But we try to provide a niche for that kid by having an opportunity to have art club or some of those things. Maybe the student's an athlete and they're not for everything that we offer, which is great. We want them to be there. But we've got a very robust extracurricular activity. And then at the bottom, you see a bunch of clubs that kids are leaders of, whether it's a political affiliation. SAD is Students Against Destructive Decisions. That's a group that meets with once in a while, probably twice a month, that talks about what's going on in youth's lives and how can we keep kids in our district from doing some of the things that are destructive. So that is all student generated. These are the kids that are coming up with these themes and these ideas and bringing them to us and saying, vaping's a big deal in a neighboring district. We need to get a handle on that. What can we do in the district? The robotics club, we've got a robust robotics community, so that's a club that meets there. HOSA, Health Occupations Student Association, Literature Lovers Club. These are things that, again, kids come to us and say, hey, we'd like to generate a club, and we need an advisor to help us with that. Can we do that? And of course, we're always open to trying new things and bringing these opportunities to kids. So I just wanted to share that because many schools our size don't offer this array of opportunities for kids. And, we're pretty lucky to have it, but we also have to understand that, sometimes there's the give and take with that. When you have a lot of opportunities, it shrinks other opportunities, for activities and things like that. And finally, the last thing I wanted to do is just spend just a second talking about without all the partnerships in our community, I'm hesitant to try to name these because I sat down yesterday and started making a list of people that contribute to the school. And my fear is whenever I say one and miss one, that's my biggest fear. I generally will do a broad thank you to all the groups that support us. But I'm going to try to name the ones that came to my head just yesterday, and I apologize if I happen to miss some. But the City of Vermillion, we have a strong partnership with the City of Vermillion. to provide services for our school. Without the city of Vermillion and the city council, we wouldn't have our school resource officers in our buildings. They pay for John Cole's salary to be at our middle school and at our Austin Elementary. He's anywhere in the district that we need him, but he's housed in those two locations. They also provide DARE education for our students that need to go through training on alcohol and drug resistance. Our Parks and Rec department in town helps us with a lot of things. We partner together to provide soccer at the high school field. They'll come and mark that field for us. In return, they get to use some of our facilities, we use some of their facilities. It's a great partnership back and forth. The county, without Clay County, we wouldn't have an SRO, school resource officer at the high school and at Jolly Elementary. They pay the salary of Aaron Armstrong to be based out of our building, so we have constant security in our district in two buildings, and they're only blocks away from a second building. They also provide DARE opportunities along some other things. The Vermillion Public School Foundation, they hold a lot of accounts for the district and for organizations that want to contribute and donate to the district. Scholarships, money for when they take their GAP trip to Germany. The Angel Fund, that's a good initiative that's really picked up steam in our district as of late, where people can donate money to the foundation. It goes into our funds called the Angel Fund, and those dollars are used discreetly by the school counselor or by a principal in the building to provide things for students. We have kids that might come without boots, school supplies, maybe it's a hot lunch, other things. Without our foundation, we wouldn't be housing all of those scholarships and the Dr. Seuss activities that go on at Austin Elementary. So that's a good example of how that partnership works. We have a partnership with AMS Construction in town. We build a house together. Our students get professional contractors working side by side with our kids right up at the high school, and that house will be AMS's property when it's done in May, and it goes out into the community. It'll be the third one that'll be placed this year, or in the last 4 years. Sanford Vermillion, Dakota Hospital Foundation, scholarship opportunities. They've purchased equipment. They provide the services of our athletic trainer. One of the things, if you've got a student athlete, and me as a former coach and administrator, when I go to a community and our athletes are competing, it's really reassuring to have an athletic trainer sitting on the side, because if there's an injury or something serious happens in the stands, it's nice to have a professional right there. Sanford provides that for us. They help train our athletes, helps us with recovery efforts for our kids if they are injured, and they provide education opportunities for our kids, and that's something that Sanford Vermillion does for us. They've also offered grant opportunities for our staff. USD, there's just so many things there that we partner with student teachers, internships, all kinds of opportunities where they come into buildings and tutor kids, volunteer hours. We feel like we provide as much to them as we get back from them. In other words, we're providing a really high-class environment for their college students to come and be mentored, and we model great things. And in return, we get these young professionals coming in to help work with our kids in the buildings and in our district. The VCDC, of course, they promote every activity we have. We partner up with a lot of things with them. Junior achievements offered in our school district as a result of partnerships with them and the community to provide the dollars to bring those entrepreneur and business skills to grades 2 through 11 throughout the year, which is a pretty big addition to our curriculum. The United Way, we do a lot with them. They provide services for our kids and grant opportunities, but they also provide the resources that when we find a gap with a family that we don't know how to fill, we can go to them and they can find resources to help make the needs met. St. Agnes, of course, with them, we have lots of educational opportunities. The Rotary Club, without the Rotary Club, we wouldn't have the scholarships for seniors. We wouldn't have the bike helmet program. We wouldn't have the books program that gets books into the hands of elementary kids at those grade levels. Vermillion Library and Vermillion Theater help us with overflow with our BSA program. The Booster Club, without our Booster Club, we wouldn't have some of the amenities that we have at our locations. We've got a new concession stand last year at the high school as a result of Booster Club donations. We also have a robust music boosters club, and those people help provide opportunities for kids for maybe they need money for parts of their trips, which are part of their educational benefit. They also help with equipment needs within the district when asked. The Vermillion Community Theater, they partner with us regularly. They use our facilities, and then they write grants and they help enhance our facilities by getting grant dollars for new light equipment or new sound equipment. Those are things that we would have to come up with on our own and provide resources for if we didn't have such a great partnership with them. And then the list goes on and on, but I guess I wanted to share that because many people don't know we have all of these and more. I probably missed some folks on there, but without those things, all the other stuff that I had talked about earlier really couldn't happen. we couldn't provide some of the robust curriculum, the great opportunities. We've got kids that travel to DC, and we've got kids that travel to Germany and to Paris this summer. Without all of these partners, we wouldn't be able to offer that. So I guess to wrap up, I would just like to say that it's always a goal of our district to provide a great learning atmosphere and a positive culture for kids to come to school to our buildings every day, no matter if you're a kindergartner or a senior in high school. We're trying to provide professional development for staff so that they can meet the future needs of kids, whether it's technology or curriculum, mental health issues, social, emotional. We've got a wide variety of trainings that we're trying to adjust to the societal needs of our kids. We want to make sure that we keep our buildings safe. That's part of the initiative with moving the administration center to the high school with the secured entrances. We've updated all of our servers, our security cameras, all of those things have been done. And at the end of the day, that's our most important job, keeping our staff and our students safe. And finally, we want to make sure that we hire the best educators and support staff that we can. At the end of the day, it's about the relationships in those buildings, because without those great people in the front of the kids each day or supporting those kids, it could be an impossible task to achieve all of our goals. So hiring good people is the biggest impact that we can have on the future of our kids. So all of those things come as a result of our community. And so, this is a chance for me to brag a little bit about all the great things, but ultimately it would not be possible without a supportive community. Not everybody in the state gets to brag about their community like we get to in Vermillion. You hear it no matter where you go. USD brags about our community, the VCDC, the school, the hospital, and they're all right. It's because of the community that we have the great things. And so it's always my pleasure and an honor to talk about those. So I'll stop with that. I'll take some time for questions if you have any, and appreciate the time before you today. Yes?
Do you have any idea out of the 89 graduates in 2019, how many of them went to college or enrolled in it?
Typically about 70% of those kids will go on to 4-year, and then there's another small percentage that are career and tech, maybe a technical school. 1 or 2% military, and then some of them just go right into work. So probably 8 or 9% just go off to work, and the rest are either military, a 4-year, or 2-year college bound.
That's great.
It is very good. Yes? Oh. I don't off the top of my head, but I can find that out for you. Yeah, really most of our classes are right at 95 to 100. Our 5th grade is big, our 6th grade is big. Those are like 117 each. Those are our outliers. Those are a little bit different than the rest, but most everybody else is that 95-ish is pretty close.
And then another thing I wanted to ask is, how's the flu season?
Knock on wood, we've done pretty well considering, there's a lot of runny noses in those buildings, and a lot of door handles and a lot of sneezing going on. So considering that, we still tend to have, 10, 12 kids out a day, typically, but there's times last year where we'd have 30 kids out of a building,
I got a report just today that kindergartners at St. Agnes had on Friday, there was 17 students, there was only 4 that made it.
Really, yeah. I haven't gotten that same reaction in our buildings yet, but unfortunately, it usually makes its rounds for us too, so, yeah. Did you have one, Paul?
The school board meets in this building
Correct.
instead of on campus. So why, is there a charter for meeting here? Why don't the school board meet on?
Great. We do pay a fee to use this building, but we also have fees that are assessed that we get to use. The Dome for graduation, or the Sanford Coyote Center for graduation. We can use other spots of theirs. It's a fee that we're just assessed for the chance to use that. The main reason we use this one, it's a good location, but mainly it's because we want to publicize our school board meetings. And with Don and the equipment here, it offers itself to blast that out over the live stream so much easier. We do have live stream capabilities. We do all of our sporting events at the high school, but that equipment is pretty much stationary on or in the gymnasium. We don't move it to the library or other places. So really it's just something that the boards felt it's important enough to pay a fee to get the information out. Not everybody can make it to our meetings on Monday night, so.
Let's give Damon a hand for all the great work.